Ladies, let me talk to you for a minute, because today's message is going to hit deep and it's going to hit real. You ever had a man stay in your mind long after he walked out of the room, long after the conversation ended, long after you told yourself, I'm done thinking about him, yet somehow he keeps showing up in your thoughts like he's living there rent-free? See, women feel this openly. Y'all talk about it, you journal about it, you tell your best friend, girl, why can't I stop thinking about this man? But let me tell you something you might not know, men feel it too. Oh, we act like we don't. We act like we're tough, unbothered, too busy, too focused, too emotionally unavailable to care. But that's just the performance. Underneath that performance is a man who feels a whole lot more than he ever admits. And that's what today's message is about. What he feels when you can't get him out of your mind. Because trust me, fellas ain't as clueless as they pretend to be. We might not say much, but we feel the shift in your energy. We feel your presence even when you're silent. We feel the connection even when you're distant. And ladies, here's the part that will surprise you. Sometimes when you can't stop thinking about him, it's because he's thinking about you too. There's a pull, a thread, a spark between two people that doesn't just disappear because life gets noisy. So today, I'm about to take you inside a man's mind. The part he doesn't let you see. The part where he questions, he wonders, he hesitates, he feels honored, intimidated, pulled, conflicted, and deeply connected. Get ready. Because once you hear what's really going on in his heart, you'll never look at his silence the same way again. He feels the pull of her energy, even in silence, ladies. Let me break something down that men will never say out loud, but every man has felt at least once in his life. When a woman can't get a man out of her mind, when she thinks about him in the quiet moments, in the middle of her day, when she wakes up, when she goes to bed, he feels that pull, not through words, not through calls, not through texts, but through something deeper than all of that, through energy. A woman's energy has a frequency, a heartbeat, a quiet vibration that speaks louder than any message she could ever send. And even if she says nothing at all, even if she keeps her distance, even if she moves on with her life, a man feels her in the background of his own. Men act simple. We look simple. We talk simple. But emotionally, we are a lot more aware than we pretend to be. We pick up on shifts. We notice silence. We sense when something is different. And when a woman still holds a soft space for a man in her mind, it creates a pull inside him that he can't explain. It's like an invisible string tugging at his thoughts. He might be sitting at work, laughing with his friends, or scrolling his phone. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a memory of her hits him. Her laugh, her voice, the way she looked at him with softness in her eyes. He remembers things he didn't even think he paid attention to. And he doesn't know why it's coming up, but it's her energy reminding him that something between them still lives. Even if she's quiet, her silence is not empty. Feminine silence is powerful. It carries warmth, mystery, tenderness, and emotional truth. A woman doesn't need to speak to affect a man. She just needs to exist in a way that touched him. Men feel presence more than words. They feel intention more than long paragraphs. They feel emotional sincerity more than any dramatic declaration. So when a woman thinks about him with emotion, whether she misses him, wonders about him, or still holds a soft spot for him, he feels something inside himself lean in her direction. Some men get confused by this. They start asking themselves, why am I thinking about her? Why does she come to mind so easily? Why do I feel like something is pulling me back to her? This is because men are not taught to understand emotional connection the way women are. Women grow up learning how to navigate feelings. Men grow up learning how to hide them. So when emotional energy shows up, men feel it before they can explain it. And sometimes this feeling bothers them, not because it's bad, but because it's unfamiliar. A man who feels your energy while your silence starts looking at your absence differently. He starts wondering where you've gone, what you're doing, who you're talking to, and why he suddenly misses your presence, even if he never admitted how much it meant. There's another truth. Feminine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. And when a woman pulls back, not as a game, not as a strategy, but simply because she's protecting her heart, a man feels the shift in a big way. He might not reach out right away, but he starts noticing all the places where her presence used to feel comforting. He notices the quiet moments where she used to send a message. He notices the part of his day where her laughter used to make things lighter. He notices how good it felt to be seen by her. And this noticing creates a magnetic pull inside him. This pull is not always romantic at first. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's longing. Sometimes it's confusion. But it is always a pull. And here is where women underestimate their own impact. When you genuinely felt for a man, when your energy toward him was warm, safe, and sincere, he remembers that feeling long after the moment ends. Men often forget your words, but they never forget the way you made them feel like home. Even if he tells himself he doesn't care, something in him reacts whenever her name, her memory, or her energy crosses his mind. Because a woman who cared, who felt deeply, who connected genuinely, she leaves an imprint. And the imprint doesn't fade just because she's quiet. He might not say it, he might not show it, but he feels it. And that quiet pull, stronger than logic, stronger than pride, stronger than ego, is exactly what makes a man realize that her presence wasn't ordinary. It had weight, it had meaning. And even in her silence, she still moves something inside him. He starts questioning why her presence won't leave his thoughts. Now here's where things get interesting, because when a man starts thinking about a woman more than he expects to, more than he wants to, more than he planned to, his mind goes into a place he rarely visits. Men don't normally sit around analyzing emotions. We don't break down feelings the way women do. We don't ask ourselves 50 questions about a moment, a message, or a memory. But when a woman gets stuck in a man's mind, he starts asking himself something he almost never asks. Why am I thinking about her so much? This question bothers him because men don't like feeling out of control emotionally. We can handle problems, challenges, responsibilities, but feelings that catch us off guard, that's a different kind of discomfort. And this discomfort grows stronger when your presence refuses to leave his thoughts. He goes about his day acting normal. He's laughing with his boys, pretending nothing's going on. He's at work, nodding, listening, doing what he needs to do. But behind all of that, you keep popping up like a quiet echo he can't silence. He'll try to shake the thought off. He'll tell himself it's nothing. But your name keeps showing up in his mind like smoke drifting through a room. It has no form, no reason, no explanation. Yet it's there, filling his thoughts again and again. Women don't understand this part. When a man thinks about you, he doesn't think about you lightly. Men don't do casual emotional remembering. When a woman crosses his mind, it's not a quick flash. It's a wave that pulls up memories he didn't even realize he paid attention to. He'll think about the way you laughed at something he said. He'll think about the moment you glanced at him and then looked away. He'll think about the way you talked with passion about something you loved. He'll think about the softness in your voice when you said his name. Men notice the smallest pieces of you. The tiny things wow you don't even remember doing. He remembers the way you tucked your hair behind your ear. He remembers the exact expression you made when you were annoyed. He remembers the tiny smirk you had when you were trying not to smile. These little details sit in the back of his mind like whispers he can't shut off. And here's the truth. A man doesn't question his feelings unless they're real. If you were just a moment, if you were just a spark, if you were just a phase, he forgets you almost instantly. Men don't hold on to women who didn't impact them. A man's mind forgets what his heart never touched. But when he can't shake your presence, when your name sits quietly in his thoughts, when your memory hits him in moments he least expects, that's when real emotions begin to surface. And that's when he starts getting uncomfortable. Not because he doesn't like the feeling, but because he wasn't prepared for it. Men love to control the pace, control the narrative, control the emotional distance. But a connection that shows up uninvited, that catches him off guard, that makes him feel something deeper than he's used to, that scares him in a very specific way. Because men don't fear love. Men fear vulnerability. Men fear losing control. Men fear being emotionally exposed without being ready. So when your presence won't leave his thoughts, he starts questioning everything. He wonders why he can't go a day without thinking about you. He wonders why your silence bothers him when he pretends it doesn't. He wonders why your absence feels louder than other women's presence. And this is the part no one tells you. Nothing scares a man more than a woman who awakens a feeling he didn't see coming. A woman who makes him feel something without trying. A woman whose memory stays even when she's not around. A woman he didn't plan for, didn't expect, didn't emotionally prepare for. Yet somehow she's the one his mind keeps circling back to. He might try to distract himself. He might try to stay busy. He might talk to other people. He might pretend he's fine. But every distraction fades and the thoughts of you return stronger. Because when a woman holds emotional weight in a man's heart, she becomes unforgettable. And when he starts questioning why he can't stop thinking about you, that's when the truth slowly hits him. Your presence wasn't random. Your connection wasn't casual. And the impact you made wasn't something he can run from, even if he tries. He feels both flattered and intimidated by her consistent attention. Here's a truth about men that many women never realize. When a woman gives a man consistent attention, real attention, intentional attention, emotional attention, it does something to him on two levels. It lifts him up and it shakes him at the same time. A man may look confident, composed, and unbothered on the outside, but inside, that attention touches parts of him he doesn't show the world. Because deep down, every man wants to feel chosen. Every man wants to feel wanted. Every man wants to feel like he stands out in someone's eyes. So when a woman consistently thinks about him, cares for him, asks about him, shows up for him in small ways, or even simply remembers details about his life, he feels flattered. He feels admired. He feels seen. And being seen is something men rarely experience. Society tells men to be strong, to be providers, to be problem solvers. Men are taught to carry weight, not emotion. So when a woman pays attention to him, not just to what he does, but to who he is, he feels something deeper than ego. He feels valued. But here's the other side of that coin. That same attention that flatters him also intimidates him. It scares him. Not because there is something wrong with her, but because there is something unfamiliar to him. A man who isn't used to emotional closeness will feel overwhelmed by it. A man who has always been guarded will panic when someone gets close enough to see the cracks. And a man who hasn't healed, hasn't matured, or hasn't sorted out his own heart yet will start pulling back. Not because he wants distance, but because he doesn't know how to receive what she's giving. A woman's consistency is powerful. Her warmth, her presence, her messages, her patience, her effort, they all carry emotional weight. To a man who's not used to being prioritized, that weight feels like too much responsibility. To a man who's been hurt or betrayed, that weight feels risky. To a man who's been emotionally distant for years, that weight feels like a threat to the comfort zone he's built around himself. So yes, he feels flattered. He loves the way she pays attention. He loves the way she checks in. He loves the way she remembers things he forgot he told her. He loves the way her presence makes him feel appreciated. He loves the comfort she brings to his chaotic mind. That warm, consistent attention becomes something he looks forward to, even if he acts like he doesn't. But at the same time, he feels intimidated. He starts wondering if he can meet her energy. He questions whether he deserves a woman like her. He asks himself if he's ready for the emotional connection she clearly feels. And sometimes that intimidation turns into distance. Not because he wants to push her away, but because he's scared he can't be enough for her. When a woman is consistent, a man starts seeing himself through her eyes. He notices the parts of him she admires. He realizes she sees potential in him that he hasn't fully stepped into yet. And that realization shakes him. It challenges him. It forces him to confront his own fears, insecurities, and shortcomings. She becomes a mirror reflecting not who he is now, but who he could be. And that's both beautiful and terrifying for a man. Some men respond by rising to the occasion. They step up. They match her effort. They grow into the version of themselves they want to be. Her consistency inspires them. It motivates them. It makes them want to become better. But other men, they run, not from the woman, but from the pressure, from the fear of disappointing her, from the fear of being vulnerable, from the fear of not being ready for the level of emotional intimacy she wants to give. This is why a woman's consistent attention affects men in such a complex way. It touches their ego and their fears at the same time. It makes them feel strong and exposed simultaneously. It fills them with confidence while awakening insecurity. That duality, feeling both flattered and intimidated, is what makes a man behave unpredictably. He wants to be close because it feels good. He pulls back because it feels risky. But one thing is always certain: a man never forgets a woman who gave him sincere, gentle, consistent attention. Even if he wasn't ready for her, even if he pulled back, even if he acted confused, her presence left a mark. Her effort echoed in his mind. Her attention struck him in a place he rarely lets anyone touch. And long after she stops giving it, long after she moves on, long after she goes silent, he'll remember exactly how it felt to be cared for by her. He begins to see her value more clearly when she's not chasing. Here's one of the most powerful truths about men. And ladies, once you understand this, you will stop giving your energy to situations that don't deserve it. A man sees a woman differently when she's not chasing him. Not because he doesn't like attention, not because he doesn't appreciate the effort, but because the moment she stops running after him is the moment his vision clears. It's like something in his mind clicks into place, and suddenly he realizes what she brought into his life. Value he couldn't see when he was too busy taking her presence for granted. Men don't process value the way women do. Women understand emotional investment. Women feel connection in real time. But men often recognize value in hindsight. They see what they had only when silence replaces consistency, when space replaces closeness, and when absence replaces effort. A woman who pulls back does not lose value in a man's eyes. She becomes visible. Because as long as she's chasing, as long as she's overgiving, as long as she's always available, he feels the comfort without appreciating the source. He feels the warmth without realizing the fire that created it. When she stops chasing, he begins to notice what her presence actually meant. He starts seeing the difference between an ordinary woman and a rare one. He starts remembering the small things she used to do for him that no one else does. He recalls the tone of her voice when she cared, the softness in her eyes when she listened, the way she showed up even when he didn't ask. These things replay in his mind like highlights of a movie he didn't appreciate while it was playing. Silence allows the memories to echo. Distance gives meaning to what he ignored. And here's something every woman needs to hear. A man cannot see your value when he's comfortable. Comfort blinds him. Comfort makes him assume you'll always be there. Comfort makes him underestimate the significance of your effort. But when you break that comfort, not through anger, not through games, not through manipulation, but through self-respect, he suddenly starts seeing you differently. Respect forms where pressure used to be, and you become less of an option and more of a realization. He'll start wondering why he hasn't heard from you the way he used to. He'll start questioning why your tone changed. He'll start feeling a void he didn't expect. He'll start missing the presence he never acknowledged. That's because your energy, once freely given, becomes rare when you pull it back. Men place higher value on what they must reach for. This is not a game, it's human psychology. When she stops chasing, she stops feeding his ego, and suddenly he is left alone with himself. And in that space, he notices how much of his sense of connection, peace, and intimacy was coming from her, not him. And the deeper truth is this: when a woman stops chasing, she forces a man to step into clarity. Without the distraction of her giving, he has to evaluate what she meant to him. Her silence becomes a mirror. Her distance becomes a test. Her absence becomes a message that says, if you want me, show it. If you value me, prove it. If you care, step forward. And a man, even the quiet one, even the unsure one, even the immature one, feels that shift in energy like a jolt. He can't ignore it. This is the moment when he begins to see her worth not as convenience, but as contribution. Not as noise, but as presence. Not as a woman who wanted him, but as a woman whose energy made his life better. And that difference changes everything. Suddenly, he sees her through a lens he never used before: respect. He looks at her strength, her independence, her boundaries, and he starts to understand that she wasn't chasing because she was desperate. She was chasing because she believed in him. And when she stops, he realizes how much he was losing. Some men step up when they see this value. They reach out, they adjust, they grow. Others stay silent, not because she wasn't valuable, but because they don't know how to meet a woman of her caliber. But regardless of how he responds, one thing is guaranteed: he never sees her the same again. Because the moment she stops chasing is the moment he starts recognizing the kind of woman she truly is. One of value, one of substance, one of strength. And that realization hits him harder than any word she could ever speak. He feels the urge to step up and match her emotional depth. There comes a moment in every man's mind, whether he admits it or not, when he realizes he is dealing with a woman who feels deeply, loves sincerely, and connects with her whole heart. And when a man recognizes that a woman operates on that level of emotional depth, something powerful begins to stir inside him. It's not pressure. It's not obligation. It's an inner pull, an urge, a calling to rise into the version of himself that can meet her where she naturally lives emotionally. Men don't fall for depth quickly. Most men operate on the surface for a long time: casual conversations, casual connections, casual intentions. It's easier, it's safer, it feels less risky. But when he's confronted with a woman who offers sincerity, vulnerability, compassion, and emotional presence, it awakens a part of him he doesn't show often. He starts to feel the weight of her heart. He starts to recognize that the way she cares is not ordinary. And when a man sees that he is receiving something rare, he doesn't want to lose it. Not even if he acts confused on the surface. A woman's emotional depth has a way of revealing the truth inside a man. It shows him where he's been playing small. It shows him where he's been emotionally guarded. It shows him where he's been inconsistent, distracted. And for the first time, he begins to question whether the version of himself he's been giving her is enough to deserve the version of her she's been giving him. This creates an internal shift. He feels a pull to show up differently. Not because she demanded it, not because she nagged him, not because she pressured him, but because her emotional sincerity makes him want to be a better man. She makes him want to match her energy. She makes him want to bring something real to the table. She makes him want to meet her with the same level of intentionality and emotional clarity that she has effortlessly shown him. This is where a man begins to grow. He starts thinking deeper. He starts listening more carefully. He starts paying attention to the things she says, not just the words, but the meaning behind them. He begins prioritizing emotional connection over pride, ego, or distance. And he begins recognizing that relationships are not built on grand gestures, but on consistent emotional presence. Men are not naturally taught how to express emotions. Many men grow up believing emotions are weakness, vulnerability is dangerous, and intimacy must be controlled. So when a woman meets him with openness instead of games, with understanding instead of judgment, with patience instead of pressure, he feels something he's not used to: safety. And safety is what unlocks a man's desire to step up emotionally. Her depth becomes an invitation, not an expectation. Her consistency becomes a guide, not a demand. Her emotional clarity becomes a mirror that reflects the man he could be. And that mirror is powerful. It challenges him to grow into a man who is capable of giving, not just receiving. A man who can express, not just react. A man who can love with intention, not just convenience. He also begins to understand the emotional labor she carries. He sees the thoughtfulness in her messages. He sees the sincerity in her actions. He sees how deeply she feels, how deeply she cares, how deeply she invests. And he realizes that matching her emotional depth is not just about romance. It's about respect. Respect for her heart. Respect for her effort. Respect for the connection being built. As this urge grows, he starts questioning his behavior. Am I giving her enough? Does she feel appreciated? Is she carrying the connection alone? Do I show up the way she deserves? These thoughts begin to shape his actions. He becomes more intentional with his words. He becomes more mindful of his decisions. He becomes more consistent in his behavior. He starts doing the small things he knows matter to her because he finally understands the emotional weight behind them. This is the moment a man transforms from interested to invested. This is the moment he stops playing it safe and starts showing effort. This is the moment he moves from hesitation to clarity. Because when a man recognizes that a woman has emotional depth, he knows he cannot show up halfway. He knows he cannot offer surface level affection to a woman operating from the soul. He knows he cannot treat her like an option when she treats him like a priority. And if he truly values her, if her presence has touched him, if her energy has awakened something inside him, he will rise, he will step up, he will grow. Not because she asked, but because loving a woman like her demands a deeper version of him. And deep down, he wants to be that man. He realizes he can't replace the connection she offers. A man can entertain options, distract himself, bury his feelings, and pretend he's unbothered. But there comes a moment when reality hits him with a force he cannot escape. It's the moment he realized that what he felt with her doesn't come around often, not in every woman, not in every conversation, not in every connection, and definitely not in every season of his life. A man may think he can forget her, replace her, or disconnect from her presence, but life has a funny way of reminding him that some women are not meant to be replaced. They're meant to be remembered. He starts noticing the difference in the smallest interactions. He'll talk to other women, maybe even enjoy the attention for a moment. But it's empty. It's light, it's surface level. He doesn't feel that depth. He doesn't feel that spark. He doesn't feel that emotional weight he felt with her. The kind that makes him pause, breathe deeper, and question himself. Other women may compliment him, flirt with him, or show interest, but none of them activate the same part of him she did. She ignited something in his spirit he didn't even know was asleep. He'll find himself comparing without meaning to. Not in a disrespectful way, but in a revealing way. He'll listen to someone talk and think, she doesn't think like her. He'll laugh at a joke and realize it doesn't hit the same. He'll spend time with someone and recognize immediately, I don't feel her energy here. Her presence becomes a silent standard, a quiet benchmark, a reference point he didn't consciously create, but can avoid. And this becomes the moment he understands what they had wasn't ordinary. Because connection is not about proximity. A woman can be miles away, completely silent, living her own life and still be more present in his heart than anyone standing right in front of him. That's the kind of impact she had. Not needy, not desperate, not forced, just real. A man can only ignore an irreplaceable connection for so long before life pushes him to face the truth. And the truth is this: she reached a part of him that no one else has been able to reach. She saw him in a way that made him feel safe, yet challenged. She understood him in a way he didn't have to explain. She cared in a way that didn't feel suffocating. She brought peace and intensity at the same time. That balance is rare, and he knows it. Even if he tried distancing himself, Even if he tried acting like it didn't matter, even if he tried convincing himself he wasn't ready, his soul remembers. His spirit remembers. His emotions remember. A deep connection leaves fingerprints on a man's heart, and no matter where he goes or who he meets, he can feel those imprints when life gets quiet enough, when the noise fades, when distractions fall away, when he's alone with his thoughts. That's when it hits hardest. He starts to understand that she wasn't just someone he liked. She was someone who awakened him, someone who opened his eyes to what connection is supposed to feel like, someone who showed him that emotional depth doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be grounding, comforting, motivating. And here's the part women rarely hear men admit out loud. Once a man realizes he can't replace that kind of connection, he feels it in every part of him. It humbles him. It scares him. And it pushes him to rethink everything he thought he wanted. Because life can give him attention, entertainment, and options, but it won't give him her again. And he knows it. So he stops running from the truth. He stops pretending. He stops comparing. He stops denying what's already etched into his heart. He understands that connections like hers come once, maybe twice in a lifetime if he's lucky. And the moment he realizes that, he finally understands the magnitude of what he's been trying to replace. And that's when he knows he can't